moving over to the arm in the back here. This is with the shoulder, your deltoids removed. So you can see these rotator cuff muscles, your infraspinatus and your teres minor right over here. And then here's your teres major. And then these are your triceps again. This one coming off your humerus. Over here is your brachialis, right? It's sitting right underneath your biceps. So if you see something coming off the brachialis, right over here, just like about midway through, that's your brachialis muscle. So you got your biceps, brachii, head, you got your brachialis muscle, and then also coming off your humerus is your brachioradialis. So all these things are named brachii. Front of your arm, you got most of them, triceps is on the back. So what did all these do in general? What would you say all these muscles here that span the elbow joint on the anterior side do what?
Flex the arm.
Yeah, they flex the arm, right? They're going to flex the elbow in particular, right? Flex the elbow joint. If they're crossing the shoulder joint too, they'll flex the shoulder. These on the back are going to do an extensor muscles. These are your extending here at the elbow. The brachioradialis is also a weak elbow flexor. And then what are we looking at here? You recognize the back of the arm right here? Because a lot of people are getting confused over it. Like they just write, this must be the biceps, right? But it's the back of the arm. We're looking at the triceps, the different heads, right? Triceps mean 3 heads. Those are the 3 heads, but I don't ask about them. You got your deltoids and you got your 3 rotator cuff muscles right over here along with your teres minor. Actually, this is only showing the infraspinatus and then your teres major, and this is the teres major. Remember, again, with that triple insertion, all your posterior rotator cuff muscles are on the greater tubercle, and your anterior, your subscapularis is on the lesser tubercle, right? 3 times as likely I'm going to ask about that insertion point. And you know their origin because it's right in their name right there, right? Infraspinatus fossa, supraspinatus fossa. Teres minor is right around there too. And this is just, here's your subscapularis, right? Subscapularis fossa inserting onto the lesser tubercle. And then here's the back. The supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, and the teres minor all inserting onto the greater tubercle. Right, here's looking at the anterior surface of your medial arm. Over here, subscapularis, teres major. And then this very skinny one going on the medial side is your coracobrachialis. Over here, here's your deltoids again. On top here, you got your biceps, brachii. Underneath the biceps, you got your brachialis. And then this would be the triceps, if I asked. And this is from the other side, still with your deltoid muscle. And we could see your biceps, brachii. And again, you want to find that tendon over here for your triceps. And then this is your teres major. Right, this is just a close-up, but here I've removed the deltoid muscle so you can see the origin of the brachialis muscle right here. Right, so it's the biceps brachii on top of it and the brachialis underneath it. And then here again, triceps. Here again, those rotator cuff muscles. And what do I do here? I just move down a little bit, point out your brachioradialis. That's your big muscle coming over here. And then I'm just pointing out the pronator teres, right? Pronator teres right here. So let's look at these a little closer, right? Here's your brachioradialis again on the lateral side. It's the most lateral muscle. If you want, you take your arm, you put it under the table, put your fingers under the table, try to pull up on the table, and you'll feel that brachioradialis kind of bulge out a little bit if you want to find it on yourself. And then for these, as far as tricks go, right? For any of these limb muscles, you want to kind of go around it in a circle to remember the names of it. So I don't know if I went over this trick. So here's my palm, right? So this is my front of my palm. This is my forearm right here. What's that? It's my funny bone. What's that called? My medial epicondyle, right? Take your 4 fingers, put them over your medial epicondyle, right? They don't go this way, right? They can't put them on your lateral epicondyle. So it's easy like that. You got 4 fingers. You got P, F, P, F, right? P, F, P, F. Right? And what that means is your pronator teres, right? That's right over here. That's the most medial one, kind of at an angle going toward your brachioradialis right there, right? And then your next F is your flexor carpi. What's on your thumb side? Exactly, radialis. Flexor, meaning it flexes, carpi, meaning the wrist, radialis, meaning the radial side. So pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis. Next one over goes over to the skin on your palms, right over here, and that's the palmaris longus. Right, that's the one that kind of goes over this band over here. And then the last one, your pinky, right, is your flexor carpi ulnaris. Right, so PF, PF. That's how you remember those. Go around a circle. The only one that doesn't cover is your flexor digitorum superficialis. Right, that's deep, actually, to the palmaris longus and your flexor carpi radialis. It's called the superficialis because there's actually a profundus under it, in case you're wondering. Right, but we had the pronator teres, right? Flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, and then your flexor carpi ulnaris, and then your flexor digitorum, because these are going to flex the fingers, superficialis. All right, just draw something like this, have it ready, brachioradialis, do some things that you'll be able to remember what these actually mean. That helps, right? But if you go from the lateral side out that way, right, then you can kind of go with these in order, like there. And then if you end up with your flexor carpi ulnaris, right here, we can start in on the other side to the extensor side. Okay, so now we've gone over to the other side, right? And here's the pinky. Over here, this would be your ulnar bone over here. So this muscle over here would be your extensor carpi ulnaris, right? And then this one over here in the middle, well, let's just jump to the other side here for a second. This one going down the thumb side, that's not the brachioradialis. These two really are your extensor carpi radialis. Right? These are going to be extending the wrist. And the middle one over here is your extensor digitorum, right? Just like the other one was the flexor digitorum, except it had a superficialis. This one is extending the fingers. You can see the tendons go up to the fingers. And remember this when you think of the leg, when you think of the foot, you have an extensor digitorum longus that has the same kind of pattern of being connected with these tendons. Where are all these coming off of? The lateral epicondyle, right? Just like the other ones are all coming off the medial epicondyle. 3 times as likely I'm going to ask about what's the origin of these. I don't ask for the insertion. This is all say all these are crossing the wrist, right? But your extensor digitorum goes out to your digits, just like your flexor digitorum goes out to your digits. Okay, digits, that means they're flexing and extending the fingers. And then here's just another picture of that, back of the arm. Again, I can't tell you how many people are mixing up the back and the front of the arm. Look for these big tendons, like look for the, either palm or back of the hand to orient yourself. And then do things in order, right? Where's the pinky side? This is actually pointing to, note, here's my pinky, right? This is my bone right here. I think I did this the other day, right? This is your ulnar bone. Your flexor carpi ulnaris, your flexor carpi ulnaris actually kind of sticks out on the posterior side so that your extensor compartment is, it's fairly small right here, right? So right now I'm extending, right? And you can see it. The other thing is, right, when you think about that flexor carpi, right? If you look, here's the flexor carpi. There's certain muscle movement right? But when you extend the fingers, right, you can see other muscles start moving. Right? So you can do that on yourself to kind of get a more concrete sense of what you're thinking. That's always the best practice, I think. All right, so we're looking at the back of the hand, and I was just about saying, unfortunately, the one that's on the pinky side sticking out a little bit is actually your, I wouldn't do this, this would be kind of mean, but that's your flexor carpi ulnaris that's kind of sticking out the side. And then the one next to it over here is your extensor carpi ulnaris. And then the one next to that, going out to the fingers, right there is your extensor digitorum. Right? And then on the other side, thumb side, over here is your extensor carpi radialis. And this over here would actually be part of that brachioradialis muscle. Right, now, again, palm of the hand right here. You're looking at the front. So what do we got? Again, this one at an angle going into your brachioradialis, right? Your pronator teres. What's right next to that? Going down the thumb side, your flexor carpi radialis. What's next to that? Your palmaris longus. And then your flexor carpi ulnaris. Just remember, this is the palm of the hand, right? Especially with the cadaver stuff, because people make a lot of mistakes. This one's a little weird. It's a little twisted around like this. So you're looking at the lateral side over here. And the biggest muscle coming from over here is your brachioradialis. And you can see a little bit of the extensor carpi radialis on the other side of that. And then here, that short muscle at an angle is your pronator teres. And then right next to that, again, is going to be your flexor carpi radialis. Brachioradialis and then flexor carpi radialis would be kind of in line with each other. With the pronator teres, that short one, what do all these do? They flex or extend the wrist. Pronator teres does that pronation movement. Brachioradialis is a weak flexor. All right, that's up for your upper limbs. Next video, we'll look at the lower limbs, the legs.